Dealers are known to mark up EVs on their lots, capitalizing on the high demand and limited supply of electric vehicles. While dealerships aim to maximize profits, these markups can be detrimental for consumers as they inflate the purchase price beyond the manufacturer's suggested retail price, or the MSRP, often making EVs less accessible and less affordable. Pricing practices like these have the potential to discourage prospective EV buyers and hinder the broader adoption of EVs, making people search far and wide for a budget-friendly car for them, or just opting for a nearby ICE that fits their budget. The adoption of EVs is obviously crucial as part of reducing carbon emissions and transitioning to a more sustainable future of transportation, as well as progressing the EV industry and market in general. Welcome back to the Out of Spec podcast. I'm your host, Francie. Have you been a victim of dealerships marking up EVs? Call 1-888-FRANCIE for help. Just kidding. But it really can put folks at a disadvantage when every EV in your area has a markup that brings it out of your price range. If you want to go electric, you should be able to go electric. This brings us to today's topic, wherein Kia has sent a letter to dealers specifically requesting that they do not mark up the new 2024 EV9. So what's the deal with markups, and why is Kia's move noteworthy? Let's dive into the details. First, the 2024 EV9 specs. The three-row SUV is listed at a starting MSRP price of $54,900 with the light rear-wheel drive option with a 76.1 kilowatt-hour battery and EPA estimated range of 230 miles. Over to $59,200 with the light long-range rear-wheel drive with a 99.8 kilowatt-hour battery and EPA estimated range of 304 miles. Then on the other side of the spectrum is their most expensive option, which is the GT line all-wheel drive at $73,900. And again, that 99.8 kilowatt-hour battery pack. All the battery packs are liquid-cooled lithium-ion batteries. They noted that the light or rear-wheel drive option has a peak DC fast charge rate of 236 kilowatts as noted in their press release. And then, of course, the dual motor powertrain, both permanent magnet synchronous with 198 horsepower. So the EV9 option seems to hit a lot of marks for folks in the EV space because this third row is an option that we haven't really seen. It's got the size, it's got some pretty good premium features, and overall seems to hit a lot of the marks. It's got a pretty good design. I don't mind how it looks at all, and we'll be excited to see it out there. I think it will, while the price point isn't super accessible off the bat, and they're already asking people not to mark it up, I think that it has a good chance of being adopted by a lot of people looking to go EV. So what caught our attention today was the letter that I mentioned earlier. So Cars Direct actually accessed the letter that Kia sent to dealers and reported on it. And so the letter asks dealers not to increase the price of the EV9 above the MSRP. According to Cars Direct, the note reads, "The EV9 customer is an important new owner to the Kia brand, and the price transparency will be paramount as part of their purchase experience. We ask dealers to retail the EV9 without markup over the MSRP." This move brings up an important question. Why do dealers mark up prices in the first place? Of course, we understand why they would do that, but would they listen to Kia when they, keyword, ask if they would not mark up the MSRP? Often referred to as just because markups, dealers have not only the ability, but the incentive to mark up EVs with the relatively limited supply on the market. But for those looking for specific price points, like I said, that fit their budget, markups make EVs even more and more inaccessible when options are already out of range for most folks. Examples include back in 2022 when there were reports of markups of $20,000 over some EV6's MSRPs, justified by the dealers due to the premium nature of the product and the low supply and high demand in the space. The global pandemic also has been cited as having quite the effect on markups, as noted in this study from the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics. As noted in this report from April of 2023, titled Automotive Dealerships 2019 through 2022, Dealer Markup Increases Drive New Vehicle Consumer Inflation. It goes on to read that consumer spending changes and economic stimuluses associated with the pandemic merit special consideration in this study because of their unprecedented scale and apparent impact on new vehicle demand. The confluence of three factors: one, significant supply shortages and supply chain bottlenecks; two, the U.S. fiscal and monetary policy, which provided unprecedented stimulus and an increase in personal savings; and three, the increase in perceived economic costs of consuming services due to the threat of COVID, were cited in the study as being the main three factors that allowed dealerships to substantially increase markups during the 2020 through 2022 economic expansion, boosting their profits and sizably contributing to new vehicle consumer inflation. In the United States, while marking up prices can be frustrating to anyone trying to buy an EV, it is not illegal. Auto dealerships definitely have the right to do this and often engage in this practice as a way to, like we said, boost their profits. They argue that these markups are justifiable due to the services they offer, such as vehicle inspections, test drives, and financing. And of course, if there's not that many EVs around, we're going to make this one count. However, it's also worth considering the impact of these markups on consumers. Customer perception of markups can be quite negative. Many potential EV buyers are already concerned about the affordability of electric vehicles. When markups are added on top of the manufacturer's suggested retail price, it can make EVs completely out of the question for people who really want to go electric, but just maybe don't have a huge budget to spend. On top of all the already inflated loan I always forget that word. On top of the already very high interest rates right now. Many have taken it upon themselves as well, as consumers, public people, to document and report markups when they see them, which you can actually see in this publicly generated map of EV markups that I'm going to bring up onto the screen, and of course share the link to in the description. So you can actually see this is a publicly generated form that marks and tracks markups all over the US. And like I said, I'll have the link in the description. But if you zoom into this, you can see where exactly people have noted markups. So we see this goes all the way from $0 to $10,000. I'm just going to click a random dot and I can see, a zero markup. That's good. Zero markup. $5,000 markup. So basically, you can look through this. The data says it should refresh every 15 minutes, and who knows, maybe you can put what you see when you're at a dealership or buying an EV into this map. So why does this story matter? It matters because the electric vehicle market is rapidly expanding, and affordability is a crucial factor in its growth. Kia's letter represents a step towards making EVs more accessible to consumers and brings in the role of saying, okay, can manufacturers ask this? Of course, but will dealers follow suit? That is the question that remains. By addressing markups, they are addressing a concern that has been hindering EV adoption for some time. It's been a little bit absurd. If you see a $20,000 MSRP markup, that's just really, I think, taking advantage of the market, which some people say, hey, it's a free market. Go ahead and do it. But I think Kia's decision to discourage markups on the EV9 is commendable, and not all manufacturers take the same approach. Some even encourage dealers to set their own prices, but Kia's stance may be a sign of a change in the industry, where automakers are beginning to realize the importance of affordability and accessibility to EVs. We'll just have to see how the dealers respond. After all, it seems like this was just a request. We hope to see more automakers follow Kia's lead, at least me personally, in the pursuit of making EVs a viable option for everyone. Thanks for tuning into the Out of Spec podcast. As always, don't forget to share it if you enjoyed it, like the video, and subscribe if you learned something new today. What do you think about Kia asking this of dealers? Do you think that they're going to do it? What have you seen lately, either in your perusing the EV market or actually buying your EV? Let us know in the comments, and thank you for joining us today. See you next time on the Out of Spec podcast.